Satire 1 of John Donne's Satires. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Thomas Copeland. John Donne's Satires. Satire 1. Away, thou fondling, motley humorist! Leave me, and in this standing wooden chest, consorted with these few books, let me lie in prison, and here be coffined when I die. Here are God's conduits, grave divines, and here nature's secretary, the philosopher, and jolly statesmen, which teach how to tie the sinews of a city's mystic body. Here gathering chroniclers, and by them stand giddy, fantastic poets of each land. Shall I leave all this constant company, and follow headlong, wild, uncertain thee? First swear by thy best love in earnest, if thou which lovest all canst love any best, thou wilt not leave me in the middle street, though some more spruce companion let us meet, not though a captain do come in thy way, bright parcel gilt with 40 dead men's pay, not though a brisk perfumed pert courtier deign with a nod thy courtesy to answer, nor come a velvet justice with a long great train of blue coats, 12 or 14 strong, wilt thou grin or fawn on him, or prepare a speech to court his beauteous son and heir? For better or worse, take me or leave me. To take and leave me is adultery. O monstrous, superstitious Puritan, of refined manners, yet ceremonial man, that when thou meet'st one, with inquiring eyes dost search, and, like a needy broker, prize the silk and gold he wears, and to that rate, so high or low, dost raise thy formal hat, that wilt consort none until thou have known what lands he hath in hope, or of his own, as though all thy companions should make thee jointures, and marry thy dear company. Why shouldst thou, that dost not only approve, but in rank itchy lust desire and love the nakedness and bareness to enjoy of thy plump muddy whore, or prostitute boy, hate virtue, though she be naked and bare? At birth and death our bodies naked are, and till our souls be unapparelled of bodies, they from bliss are banished. Man's first blessed state was naked. When by sin he lost that, yet he was clothed but in beast's skin, and in this coarse attire which I now wear, with God and with the Muses I confer. But since thou, like a contrite penitent, charitably warned of thy sins, dost repent these vanities and giddinesses, lo, I shut my chamber door, and come, let's go. But sooner may a cheap whore, who hath been worn by as many several men in sin as are black feathers or musk-colour hose, name her child's right true father mongst all those, sooner may one guess who shall bear away the Infanta of London, heir to an India, and sooner may a gulling weather spy, by drawing forth heaven's scheme, tell certainly what fashioned hats, or ruffles, or suits next year our subtle-witted antic youths will wear, than thou, when thou depart'st from me, canst show whither, why, when, or with whom thou wouldst go. But how shall I be pardoned my offence, that thus have sinned against my conscience? Now we are in the street. He, first of all, improvidently proud, creeps to the wall, and so imprisoned and hemmed in by me, sells for a little state his liberty. Yet, though he cannot skip forth now to greet every fine silken painted fool we meet, he them to him with amorous smiles allures, and grins, smacks, shrugs, and such an itch endures as prentices or schoolboys, which do know of some gay sport abroad, yet dare not go. And as fiddlers stop lowest at highest sound, so to the most brave stoops he nighst the ground. But to a grave man he doth move no more than the wise politic horse would heretofore, or thou, O elephant or ape, wilt do, when any names the King of Spain to you. Now leaps he upright, jogs me, and cries, "Do you see yonder well-favoured youth?" "Which?" "Oh, 'tis he that dances so divinely." "Oh," said I, "stand still. Must you dance here for company?" He drooped. We went, till one which did excel th' Indians in drinking his tobacco well met us. They talked. I whispered, "Let's go. Maybe you smell him not. Truly I do." He hears not me, but on the other side a many-coloured peacock having spied, leaves him and me. I for my lost sheep stay. He follows, overtakes, goes on the way, saying, "Him whom I last left, all repute for his device in handsoming a suit, to judge of lace, pink, pains, print, cut, and plight, of all the court to have the best conceit. Our dull comedians want him, let him go. But, oh, God strengthen thee, why stoop'st thou so?" "Why? He hath travelled." "Long?" "No, but to me, which understand none, he doth seem to be perfect French and Italian." I replied, "So is the pox." He answered not, but spied more men of fort, with parts and qualities. At last his love he in a window spies, and like light dew exhaled, he flings from me, violently ravished to his lechery. Many were there, he could command no more. He quarrelled, fought, bled, and, turned out of door, directly came to me hanging the head, and constantly a while must keep his bed. End of Satire 1. Recording by Thomas Copeland. Satire 2 by John Donne. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Thomas Copeland. Satire 2. Sir, though I thank God for it, I do hate perfectly all this town, yet there's one state in all ill things so excellently best, that hate toward them breeds pity towards the rest. Though poetry indeed be such a sin as I think that brings dearths and Spaniards in, though like the pestilence and old-fashioned love riddlingly it catch men, and doth remove never till it be starved out, yet their state is poor, disarmed, like papists, not worth hate. One, like a wretch which at bar judged as dead, yet prompts him which stands next and cannot read, and saves his life, gives idiot actors means, starving himself to live by his laboured scenes, as in some organ, puppets dance above, and bellows pant below, which then do move. One would move love by rhythms, but witchcraft's charms bring not now their old fears, nor their old harms. Rams and slings now are silly battery, pistolets are the best artillery. And they who write to lords rewards to get, are they not like singers at doors for meat? And they who write, because all write, have still that excuse for writing, and for writing ill. But he is worst, who, beggarly, doth chaw others' wits' fruits, and in his ravenous maw, rankly digested, doth those things outspew as his own things. And they are his own, 'tis true. For if one eat my meat, though it be known the meat was mine, th' excrement is his own. But these do me no harm, nor they which use to outdo dildos, and outuse your Jews, to outdrink the sea, to outswear the litany, who with sins all kinds as familiar be as confessors, and for whose sinful sake schoolmen new tenements in hell must make, whose strange sins canonists could hardly tell, in which commandments large receipt they dwell. But these punish themselves. The insolence of Coscus only breeds my just offence, whom time, which rots all and makes botches, pox, and plodding on must make a calf and ox, hath made a lawyer, which was, alas, of late but a scarce poet. Jollier of this state than our new beneficed ministers, he throws like nets or lang twigs, wheresoever he goes, his title of barrister on every wench, and woos in language of the pleas and bench. A motion, lady. Speak, Coscus. I have been in love ever since tricesimo of the Queen. Continual claims I have made, injunctions got to stay my rival's suit, that he should not proceed. Spare me. In Hilary term I went. You said if I returned next size in Lent, I should be in remitter of your grace. In the interim, my letters should take place of affidavits. Words, words which would tear the tender labyrinth of a soft maid's ear, more than 10 Sclavonian scolding, more than when winds in our ruined abbeys roar. When sick with poetry, and possessed with muse thou wast, and mad, I hoped. But men which choose law practice for mere gain, bold soul, repute worse than embrothelled strumpets, prostitute. Now, like an owl-like watchman, he must walk, his hand still at a bill. Now he must talk idly, like prisoners, which whole months will swear that only suretyship hath brought them there, and to every suitor lie in everything, like a king's favourite, yea, like a king, like a wedge in a block ring to the bar, bearing like asses, and more shameless far than carted whores, lie to the grave judge. For bastardy abounds not in kings' titles, nor simony and sodomy in churchmen's lives, as these things do in him. By these he thrives. Shortly, as the sea, he will compass all our land, from Scots to White, from Mount to Dover strand. And spying heirs, melting with luxury, Satan will not joy their sins as he. For, as a thrifty wench creeps kitching stuff, and barrelling the droppings and the snuff of wasting candles, which in 30 year, relique-like kept, perchance buys wedding gear, piecemeal he gets lands, and spends as much time wringing each acre as men pulling prime. In parchments, then, large as his fields, he draws assurances, big as glossed civil laws, so huge that men, in our time's forwardness, are fathers of the church for writing less. These he writes not, nor for these written pays, therefore spares no length. As in those first days when Luther was professed, he did desire short paternosters, saying, as a friar each day is beads, but having left those laws, adds to Christ's prayer the power and glory clause. But when he sells or changes land, he impairs his writings, and, unwatched, leaves out Cæsar, as slyly as any commenter goes by hard words or sense, or in divinity as controverters in vouched text leave out shrewd words which might against them clear the doubt. Where are those spread woods which clothed heretofore those bought lands? Not built, nor burnt within door. Where's the old landlord's troops and alms? In great halls, Carthusian fast and fulsome bacchanals equally I hate. Means bless. In rich men's homes I bid kill some beasts, but no hecatombs. None starve, none surfeit so. But, oh, we allow good works as good, but out of fashion now, like old rich wardrobes. But my words none draws within the vast reach of huge statute laws. End of Satire 2, recording by Thomas Copeland. Satire 3 by John Donne. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Thomas Copeland. Satire 3. Kind pity chokes my spleen. Brave scorn forbids those tears to issue which swell my eyelids. I must not laugh nor weep sins, and be wise. Can railing then cure these worn maladies? Is not our mistress, fair Religion, as worthy of all our soul's devotion as virtue was to the first blinded age? Are not heaven's joys as valiant to assuage lusts as earth's honour was to them? Alas, as we do them in means, shall they surpass us in the end? And shall thy Father's Spirit meet blind philosophers in heaven, whose merit of strict life may be imputed faith, and here thee, whom he taught so easy ways and near to follow, damned? Oh, if thou darest fear this fear great courage and high valour is. Darest thou aid mutinous Dutch, and darest thou lay thee in ships' wooden sepulchres, a prey to leaders' rage, to storms, to shot, to dearth? Darest thou dive seas and dungeons of the earth? Hast thou courageous fire to thaw the ice of frozen north discoveries, and thrice colder than salamanders, like divine children in the oven, fires of Spain and the Line, whose countries limbex to our bodies be, canst thou for gain bear? And must every he which cries not goddess to thy mistress draw or eat thy poisonous words? Courage of straw! O desperate coward, wilt thou seem bold, and to thy foes and his who made thee to stand sentinel in his world's garrison thus yield, and for forbidden wars leave the pointed field? Know thy foes. The foul devil whom thou strivest to please, for hate, not love, would allow thee fain his whole realm to bequit. And as the world's all parts wither away and pass, so the world's self, thy other loved foe, is in her decrepit wane, and thou, loving this, dost love a withered and worn strumpet. Last, flesh itself's death, and joys which flesh can taste, thou lovest, and thy fair goodly soul, which doth give this flesh power to taste joy, thou dost loathe. Seek true religion. Oh, where? Mirius, thinking her unhoused here, and fled from us, seeks her at Rome. There, because he doth know that she was there 1,000 years ago. He loves a rag so, as we here obey the state cloth where the prince sate yesterday. Krantz to such brave loves will not be enthralled, but loves her only who at Geneva is called Religion, plain, simple, sullen, young, contemptuous, yet unhandsome. As among lecherous humours there is one that judges no wenches wholesome, but coarse country drudges. Graius stays still at home here, and because some preachers, vile ambitious bawds, and laws, still new like fashions, bid him think that she which dwells with us is only perfect, he embraceth her whom his godfathers will tender to him, being tender, as wards still take such wives as their guardians offer or pay values. Careless Phrygius doth abhor all, because all cannot be good, as one knowing some women whores dares marry none. Gracchus loves all as one, and thinks that so as women do in divers countries go in divers habits, yet are still one kind, so is religion, and this blindness too much light breeds. But unmoved thou of force must one, and force but one, allow, and the right. Ask thy father which is she, let him ask his. Though truth and falsehood be near twins, yet truth a little elder is. Be busy to seek her. Believe me this, he's not of none, nor worse, that seeks the best. To adore or scorn an image, or protest, may all be bad. Doubt wisely. In strange way, to stand inquiring right is not to stray. To sleep or run wrong is. On a huge hill, cragged and steep, truth stands, and he that will reach her, about must and about must go, and what the hill's suddenness resists, win so. Yet strive so that before age, death's twilight, thy soul rest. for none can work in that night. To will implies delay, therefore now do. Hard deeds the body's pains, hard knowledge too the mind's endeavours reach. And mysteries are like the sun, dazzling, yet plain to all eyes. Keep the truth which thou hast found. Men do not stand in so ill case here, that God hath with his hand signed kings' blank charters to kill whom they hate, nor are they vicars, but hangmen to fate. Fool and wretch, wilt thou let thy soul be tied to man's laws, by which she shall not be tried at the last day? Oh, will it then boot thee to say, a Philip or a Gregory, a Harry or a Martin taught thee this? Is not this excuse for mere contraries equally strong? Cannot both sides say so? That thou mayst rightly obey power, her bounds know. Those pass, her nature and name is changed. To be then humble to her is idolatry. As streams are, power is. Those blessed flowers that dwell at the rough stream's calm head thrive and do well. But having left their roots, and themselves given to the stream's tyrannous rage, alas, are driven through mills and rocks and woods, and at last, almost consumed in going, in the sea are lost. So perish souls which more choose men's unjust power from God claimed, than God himself to trust. End of Satire 3. Recording by Thomas Copeland. Satire 4 by John Donne. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Thomas Copeland. Satire 4. Well, I may now receive and die. My sin indeed is great, but I have been in a purgatory such as feared hell is a recreation to, and scarce map of this. My mind neither with pride's itch, nor yet hath been poisoned with love to see or to be seen. I had no suit there, nor new suit to show, yet went to court. But as Glaze, which did go to a mass in jest, catched, was fain to disburse the 100 marks, which is the statute's curse, before he scaped, so it pleased my destiny, guilty of my sin of going, to think me as prone to all ill, and of good as forgetful, as proud, as lustful, and as much in debt, as vain, as witless, and as false as they which dwell at court, for once going that way. Therefore I suffered this. Towards me did run a thing more strange than on Nile's slime the sun e'er bred, or all which into Noah's ark came. A thing which would have posed Adam to name, stranger than 7 antiquaries' studies, than Afric's monsters, Guiana's rarities, stranger than strangers, one who for a Dane in the Danes' massacre had sure been slain, if he had lived then, and without help dies when next the prentices against strangers rise, one whom the watch at noon let scarce go by, one to whom the examining justice sure would cry, Sir, by your priesthood, tell me what you are. His clothes were strange, though coarse, and black, though bare. Sleeveless his jerkin was, and it had been velvet, but 'twas now, so much ground was seen, become tough taffety, and our children shall see it plain rash a while, then not at all. This thing hath travelled, and saith speaks all tongues, and only knoweth what to all states belongs. Made of accents and best phrase of all these, he speaks no language. If strange meats displease, art can deceive, or hunger force my taste, but pedant's motley tongue, soldiers' bombast, mountebank's drug tongue, nor the terms of law are strong enough preparatives to draw me to bear this. Yet I must be content with his tongue, in his tongue called compliment, in which he can win widows, and pay scores, make men speak treason, cozen subtlest whores, outflatter favourites, or outlie either Jovius or Surius, or both together. He names me, and comes to me. I whisper, God, how have I sinned, that thy wrath's furious rod, this fellow, chooseth me? He saith, Sir, I love your judgment. Whom do you prefer for the best linguist? And I sillily said that I thought Callapin's Dictionary. Nay, but of men, most sweet sir. Beza, then, some other Jesuits, and 2 reverend men of our 2 academies I name. There he stopped me and said, Nay, your apostles were pretty good linguists, and so Panurge was. Yet a poor gentleman, all these may pass by travel. Then, as if he would have sold his tongue, he praised it, and such wonders told, that I was fain to say, If you'd lived, sir, time enough to have been interpreter to Babel's bricklayers, sure the tower it stood. He adds, If of court life you knew the good, you would leave loneness. I said, Not alone my loneness is, but Spartan's fashion, to teach by painting drunkards, doth not last now. Aretine's pictures have made few chaste. No more can princes' courts, though there be few better pictures of vice, teach me virtue. He, like to a high-stretched lute-string, squeaked, Oh, sir, 'tis sweet to talk of kings. At Westminster, said I, the man that keeps the abbey tombs, and for his price doth with whoever comes of all our Harrys and our Edwards talk, from king to king, and all their kin can walk. Your ears shall hear naught but kings, your eyes meet kings only. The way to it is King Street. He smacked and cried, He's base, mechanic, coarse. So are all your Englishmen in their discourse. Are not your Frenchmen neat? Mine, as you see, I have but one Frenchman. Look, he follows me. Certes, they all neatly clothed. I of this mind am, your only wearing is your grogram. Not so, sir, I have more. Under this pitch he would not fly. I chaffed him. But as itch scratched into smart, and as blunt iron ground into an edge hurts worse, so I, fool, found crossing hurt me. To fit my sullenness, he t'another key his style doth address, and asks, What news? I tell him of new plays. He takes my hand, and as a still which stays assemblive twixt each drop, he niggardly, as loath to enrich me, so tells many a lie. More than 10 Hollandsheads, or halls, or stows, of trivial household trash he knows. He knows when the Queen frowned or smiled, and he knows what a subtle statesman may gather of that. He knows who loves whom, and who by poison hastes to an officer's reversion. He knows who'th sold his land, and now doth beg a license old iron, boots, shoes, and eggshells to transport. Shortly boys shall not play at span counter or blow point, but they pay toll to some courtier. And wiser than all us, he knows what lady is not mated. Thus he with home meats tries me. I belch, spew, spit, look pale and sickly like a patient, yet he thrusts on more, and as if it undertook to say Balagvelgicus without book, speaks of all states and deeds that have been since the Spaniards came to the loss of Amiens. Like a big wife at sight of loathed meat ready to travail, so I sigh and sweat to hear this macaron talk. In vain, for yet, either my humour or his own to fit, he, like a privileged spy, whom nothing can discredit, libels now against each great man. He names a price for every office paid. He saith our wars thrive ill because delayed, that offices are entailed, and that there are perpetuities of them lasting as far as the last day, and that great officers do with the pirates' share and Dunkirkers. Who wastes in meat, in clothes, in horse, he notes. Who loves whores, who boys, and who goats. I, more amazed than Circe's prisoners when they felt themselves turn beasts, felt myself then becoming traitor, and methought I saw one of our giant statutes ope his jaw to suck me in, for, hearing him, I found that as burnt venom lechers do grow sound by giving others their sores, I might grow guilty, and he free. Therefore I did show all signs of loathing. But since I am in, I must pay mine and my forefathers' sin to the last farthing. Therefore, to my power, toughly and stubbornly I bear this cross. But thou art of mercy now wast come. He tries to bring me to pay a fine to scape his torturing, and says, Sir, can you spare me? I said, willingly. Nay, sir, can you spare me a crown? Thankfully I gave it as ransom. But as fiddlers still, though they be paid to be gone, yet needs will thrust one more jig upon you, so did he with his long complimental thanks vex me. But he is gone, thanks to his needy want and the prerogative of my crown. Scant his thanks were ended when I, which did see all the court filled with more strange things than he, ran from thence with such or more haste than one who fears more actions doth make from prison. At home, in wholesome solitariness, my precious soul began the wretchedness of suitors at court to mourn, and a trance, like his who dreamt he saw hell, did advance itself on me. Such men as he saw there, I saw at court, and worse, and more. Low fear becomes the guilty, not the accuser. Then shall I, none's slave, of high-born or raised men, fear frowns? And my mistress Truth betray thee to the huffing braggart puffed nobility? No, no, thou which since yesterday hast been almost about the whole world, hast thou seen, O son, in all thy journey, vanity such as swells the bladder of our court? I think he which made your waxen garden, and transported it from Italy to stand with us at London, flouts our presence. For just such gay painted things, which no sap nor taste have in them, ours are, and natural some of the stalks are, their fruits bastard all. 'Tis 10 o'clock and past. All whom the muse, balloon, tennis, diet, or the stews had all the morning held, now the second time made ready that day, in flocks are found in the presence, and I, God pardon me. As fresh and sweet their apparels be, as be the fields they sold to buy them. For a king those hose are, cry the flatterers, and bring them next week to the theatre to sell. Wants reach all states. Meseems they do as well at stage as court. All are players, who ere looks for themselves dare not go, or cheapside books, shall find their wardrobe's inventory. Now the ladies come, as pirates, which do know that there came weak ships fraught with cut channel, the men board them, and praise, as they think well, their beauties. They the men's wits, both are bought. Why good wits ne'er wear scarlet gowns, I thought this cause. These men men's wits for speeches buy, and women buy all reds which scarlets dye. He called her beauty lime twigs, her hair net. She fears her drugs ill laid, her hair loose set. Would not Heraclitus laugh to see Macrine, from hat to shoe, himself at door refine, as if the presence were a Muscite, and lift his skirts and hose, and call his clothes to shrift, making them confess not only mortal great stains and holes in them, but venial feathers and dust, wherewith they fornicate. And then by Durer's rules survey the state of each limb, and with strings the odds try of his neck to his leg, and waist to thigh. So in immaculate clothes, and symmetry perfect as circles, with such nicety as a young preacher at his first time goes to preach, he enters, and the lady, which owes him not so much as good will, he arrests, and unto her protests, so much as at Rome would serve to have thrown 10 cardinals into the Inquisition, and whispered, by Jesu, so often that a pursuivant would have ravished him away for saying of Our Lady's Psalter. But 'tis fit that they each other plague, they merit it. But here comes Glorious, that will plague them both, who in the other extreme only doth call a rough carelessness good fashion. whose cloak his spurs tear, whom he spits on he cares not. His ill words do no harm to him. He rusheth in as if arm, arm, he meant to cry, and though his face be as ill as theirs which in old hangings whip Christ, still he strives to look worse. He keeps all in awe, jests like a licensed fool, commands like law. Tired, now I leave this place, and but pleased so as men which from jails to execution go through the great chamber. Why is it hung with the 7 deadly sins? Being among those Ascaparts, men big enough to throw Charing Cross for a bar, men that do know no token of worth but Queen's man and fine living, barrels of beef, flagons of wine, I shook like a spied spy. Preachers, which are seas of wit and arts, you can then dare drown the sins of this place, for me, which am but a scarce brook, it enough shall be to wash the stains away. Although I yet, with Maccabee's modesty, the known merit of my work lessen, yet some wise man shall, I hope, esteem my writs canonical. End of Satire 4. Recording by Thomas Copeland. Satire 5 by John Donne. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Thomas Copeland. Satire 5. Thou shalt not laugh in this leaf, Muse, nor they whom any pity warms. He which did lay rules to make courtiers, he being understood may make good courtiers, but who courtiers good, frees from the sting of jests all who in extreme are wretched or wicked. Of these two a theme charity and liberty give me. What is he who officers' rage and suitors' misery can write and jest? If all things be in all, as I think, since all which were, are, and shall be made of the same elements, each thing implies or represents, then man is a world, in which officers are the vast ravishing seas, and suitors springs, now full, now shallow, now dry, which to that which drowns them run. These self-reasons do prove the world a man, in which officers are the devouring stomach, and suitors the excrements which they void. All men are dust. How much worse are suitors, who to men's lust are made praise. Oh, worse than dust or worms' meat, for they do eat you now, whose selves worms shall eat. They are the mills which grind you, yet you are the wind which drives them, and a wasteful war is fought against you, and you fight it. They adulterate law, and you prepare their way like wittles. Issue your own ruin is. Greatest and fairest Empress, know you this? Alas, no more than Thames' calm head doth know whose meads her arms drown, or whose corn o'erflow. You, sir, whose righteousness she loves, whom I, by having leave to serve, am most richly for service paid, authorized, now begin to know and weed out this enormous sin. O age of rusty iron! Some better wit call it some worse name, if aught equal it. The Iron Age that was when justice was sold. Now injustice is sold dearer far. Allow all demands, fees, and duties, gamesters. Anon the money which you sweat and swear for is gone into other hands. So controverted lands scape like Angelica the striver's hands. If law be in the judge's heart, and he have no heart to resist letter or fee, where wilt thou appeal? Power of the courts below flow from the first main head, and these can throw thee, if they suck thee in, to misery, to fetters, halters. But if the injury steal thee to dare complain, alas, thou goest against the stream when upwards, when thou art most heavy and most faint. And in these labours they against whom thou shouldst complain will in the way become great seas, or which, when thou shalt be forced to make golden bridges, thou shalt see that all thy gold was drowned in them before. All things follow their like, only who have may have more. Judges are gods. He who made and said them so meant not that men should be forced to them to go by means of angels. When supplications we send to God, to dominations, powers, cherubims, and all heaven's courts, if we should pay fees as here, daily bread would be scarce to kings. So 'tis. Would it not anger a stoic, a coward, yea, a martyr, to see a pursuivant come in and call all his clothes copes, books primers, and all his plate chalices, and mistake them away, and ask a fee for coming? Oh, ne'er may fair law's white reverend name be strumpeted to warrant thefts. She is established recorder to destiny on earth, and she speaks fate's words, and but tells us who must be rich, who poor, who in chairs, who in jails. She is all fair, but yet hath foul long nails, with which she scratcheth suitors. In bodies of men, so in law, nails are the extremities. So officers stretch to more than law can do, as our nails reach what no else part comes to. Why bearest thou to yon officer? Fool, hath he got those goods for which erst men bared to thee? Fool, twice, thrice thou hast bought wrong, and now hungrily begg'st right. But that dole comes not till these die. Thou hadst much, and laws Urim and Thummim try thou wouldst for more, and for all hast paper enough to clothe all the great carracks pepper. Sell that, and by that thou much more shalt leese than Haman, when he sold his antiquities. O wretch, that thy fortune should moralize Aesop's fables, and make tales prophecies! Thou'rt the swimming dog whom shadows cozened, and dives near drowning for what's vanished. End of Satire 5. Recording by Thomas Copeland. Upon Mr. Thomas Coryat's Crudities, Part 7 of John Donne's Satires. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Thomas Copeland. Upon Mr. Thomas Coryat's Crudities. Oh, to what height will love of greatness strive, thy leavened spirit, sesquisuperlative? Venice' vast lake thou hadst seen, and wouldst seek then some vaster thing, and foundst a courtesan. That inland sea having discovered well, a cellar gulf, where one might sail to hell from Heidelberg, thou longest to see, and thou this book greater than all producest now. Infinite work, which doth so far extend that none can study it to any end. 'Tis no one thing, it is not fruit, nor root, nor poorly limited with head or foot. If man be therefore man, because he can reason and laugh, thy book doth half make man. One half being made, thy modesty was such, that thou on th'other half wouldst never touch. When wilt thou be at full great lunatic? Not till thou exceed the world? Canst thou be like a prosperous nose-born wen, which sometimes grows to be far greater than the mother knows? Go then, and as to thee when thou didst go Munster did towns and Gessner authors show, mount now to Gallobelgicus, appear as deep a statesman as a gazetteer. Homely and familiarly when thou comest back, talk of Will Conqueror and Prester Jack. Go, bashful man, lest here thou blush to look upon the progress of thy glorious book, to which both Indies sacrifices send, the West send gold, which thou didst freely spend, meaning to seek no more, upon the press. The east sends hither her deliciousness, and thy leaves must embrace what comes from thence, the myrrh, the pepper, and the frankincense. This magnifies thy leaves, but if they stoop to neighbour wares, when merchants do unhoop voluminous barrels. If thy leaves do then convey these wares in parcels unto men, if for vast tons of currans, of figs, of medicinal and aromatic twigs, thy leaves a better method do provide, divide to pounds, and ounces subdivide. If they stoop lower yet, and vent our wares, home manufactures, to thick popular fairs, if omnipregnant there upon warm stalls they hatch all wares for which the buyer calls, then thus thy leaves we justly may commend, that they all kind of matter comprehend. Thus thou, by means which th' ancients never took, a pandect makest, and universal book. The bravest heroes for public good scattered in divers lands their limbs and blood. Worst malefactors, to whom men not prize, do public good, cut in anatomies. So will thy book in pieces. For a lord which casts at Portescues, and all the board, provide whole books. Each leaf enough will be for friends to pass time and keep company. Can all carouse up thee? No, thou must fit measures, and fill out for the half-pint wit. Some shall wrap pills, and save a friend's life so. Some shall stop muskets, and so kill a foe. Thou shalt not ease the critics of next age so much at once their hunger to assuage, nor shall wit pirates hope to find thee lie all in one bottom, in one library. Some leaves may paste strings there in other books, and so one may, which on another looks, pilfer, alas, a little wit from you, but hardly much. Note, I mean from one page which shall paste strings in a book. Return to text. And yet I think this true: as Sibyl's was, your book is mystical, for every piece is as much worth as all. Therefore mine impotency I confess. The healths which my brain bears must be far less. Thy giant wit o'erthrows me. I am gone, and rather than read all, I would read none. End of Upon Mr. Thomas Coryat's Crudities. Recording by Thomas Copeland. Metempsychosis, Part 7 of John Donne's Satires. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Thomas Copeland. Infinitati Sacrum, 16 Augusti, 1601. Metempsychosis. Poema Satyricon. Epistle. Others had the porches and entries of their buildings set their arms. I my picture. If any colours can deliver a mind so plain and flat and through light as mine. Naturally, at a new author I doubt and stick, and do not say quickly good. I censure much and tax. And this liberty costs me more than others, by how much my own things are worse than others. Yet I would not be so rebellious against myself as not to do it, since I love it, nor so unjust to others to do it sine talione. As long as I give them as good hold upon me, they must pardon me my bitings. I forbid no reprehender but him that, like the Trent Council, forbids not books, but authors, damning whatever such a name hath or shall write. None writes so ill, that he gives not something exemplary to follow or fly. Now, when I begin this book, I have no purpose to come into any man's debt. How my stock will hold out, I know not. Perchance waste, perchance increase in use. If I do borrow anything of antiquity, besides that I make account that I pay it to posterity, with as much and as good, you shall still find me to acknowledge it, and to thank not him only that hath digged out treasure for me, but that hath lighted me a candle to the place. All which I will bid you remember, for I will have no such readers as I can teach, is that the Pythagorean doctrine, doth not only carry one soul from man to man, nor man to beast, but indifferently to plants also. And therefore you must not grudge to find the same soul in an emperor, in a post-horse, and in a musherer, since no unreadiness in the soul, but an indisposition in the organs, works this. And therefore, though this soul could not move when it was a melon, yet it may remember, and now tell me, at what lascivious banquet it was served. And though it could not speak when it was a spider, yet it can remember, and now tell me, who used it for poison to attain dignity. However the bodies have dulled her other faculties, her memory hath ever been her own, which makes me so seriously deliver you by her relation all her passages from her first making, when she was that apple which Eve ate, to this time, when she is he whose life you shall find in the end of this book. The progress of the soul. First Song. I sing the progress of a deathless soul, whom fate, which God made, but doth not control, placed in most shapes. All times before the law yoked us, and when and since, in this I sing, and the great world to his aged evening. From infant morn through manly noon I draw, what the gold Chaldee or silver Persian saw, Greek brass or Roman iron, is in this one, a work tout where Seth's pillars, brick and stone, and, Holy Writ accepted, made to yield to none. Thee, eye of heaven, this great soul envies not. By thy male force is all we have begot. In the first east thou now beginst to shine, suck'st early balm and island spices there, and wilt anon in thy loose-reined career at Tagus, Po, Seine, Thames, and Dano dine, and see at night thy western land of mine. Yet hast thou not more nations seen than she, that before thee one day began to be, and thy frail light being quenched, shall long, long outlive thee. Nor holy Janus, in whose sovereign boat the church and all the monarchies did float, that swimming college and free hospital of all mankind, that cage and vivary of fowls and beasts, in whose womb destiny us and our latest nephews did install, from thence were all derived that fill this all, didst thou in that great stewardship embark so divers shapes into that floating park as have been moved and informed by this heavenly spark. Great destiny, the commissary of God, that hast marked out a place and period for everything, who, where we offspring took, our ways and ends seized at one instant, thou not of all causes, thou whose changeless brow ne'er smiles nor frowns, O vouch thou safe to look and show my story in thy eternal book, that, if my prayer be fit, I may understand so much myself as to know with what hand how scant or liberal this my life's race is spanned. To my 6 lustres almost now outwore, except thy book owe me so many more, except my legend be free from the lets of steep ambition, sleepy poverty, spirit-quenching sickness, dull captivity, distracting busyness, and from beauty's nets, and all that calls from this and to others whets. Oh, let me not launch out, but let me save th' expense of brain and spirit, that my grave, his right and due, a whole unwasted man may have. But if my days be long and good enough, in vain this sea shall enlarge or enrough itself, for I will through the wave and foam, and shall in sad lone ways, a lively sprite, make my dark heavy poem light and light. For though through many straits and lands I roam, I launch at paradise, and I sail towards home. The course I there began shall here be stayed. Sails hoised there, stroke here, and anchors laid in Thames, which were Tigris and Euphrates weighed. For the great soul which here amongst us now doth dwell, and moves that hand and tongue and brow, which, as the moon the sea, moves us, to hear whose story with long patience you will long, for 'tis the crown and last strain of my song. This soul, to whom Luther and Mahomet were prisons of flesh, this soul which oft did tear and mend the racks of th' empire and late Rome, and lived when every great change did come, had first in paradise a low but fatal room. Yet no low room, nor than the greatest less, if, as devout and sharp men fitly guess, that cross, our joy and grief, where nails did tie that all which always was all everywhere, which could not sin, and yet all sins did bear, which could not die, yet could not choose but die, stood in the self same room in Calvary, where first grew the forbidden learned tree. For on that tree hung in security this soul, made by the Maker's will from pulling free. Prince of the orchard, fair as dawning morn, fenced with the law, and ripe as soon as born, that apple grew, which this soul did enlive, till the then climbing serpent, that now creeps for that offence for which all mankind weeps, took it, and to her whom the first man did wive, whom and her race only forbiddings drive, he gave it. She her husband both did eat. So perished the eaters and the meat, and we, for treason taints the blood, thence die and sweat. Man all at once was there by woman slain, and one by one we are here slain o'er again by them. The mother poisoned the wellhead, the daughters here corrupt us, rivulets. No smallness scapes, no greatness breaks their nets. She thrust us out, and by them we are led astray from turning to whence we are fled. Were prisoners judges, 'twould seem rigorous, she sinned, we bear. Part of our pain is thus to love them whose fault to this painful love yoked us. So fast in us doth this corruption grow, that now we dare ask why we should be so. Would God, disputes the curious rebel, make a law, and would not have it kept? Or can his creatures' will cross his? Of every man, for one, will God, and be just, vengeance take. Who sinned? 'Twas not forbidden to the snake, nor her, who was not then made. Nor is't writ that Adam cropped or knew the apple. Yet the worm, and she, and he, and we endure for it. But snatch me, heavenly Spirit, from this vain reckoning their vanities. Less is their gain than hazard still to meditate on ill, though with good mind. Their reasons, like those toys of glassy bubbles, which the gamesome boys stretch to so nice a thinness through a quill, that they themselves break, do themselves spill. Arguing is heretics' game, and exercise, as wrestlers, perfects them. Not liberties of speech, but silence. Hands, not tongues, end heresies. Just in that instant when the serpent's gripe broke the slight veins and tender conduit pipe, through which this soul from the tree's root did draw life and growth to this apple, fled away this loose soul, old, one and another day. As lightning, which one scarce dares say he saw, 'tis so soon gone, and better proof the law of sense than faith required, swiftly she flew to a dark and foggy plot. Her fates through there, through th' earth's pores, and in a plant housed her anew. The plant thus abled, to itself did force a place where no place was. By nature's course, as air from water, water fleets away from thicker bodies. By this root thrown so, his spongy confines gave him place to grow, just as in our streets, when the people stay to see the prince, and have so filled the way that weasels scarce could pass. When she comes near, they throng and cleave up, and a passage clear, as if for that time their round bodies flattened were. His right arm he thrust out towards the east, westward his left. Thence did themselves digest into 10 lesser strings, these fingers were, and as a slumberer stretching on his bed, this way he this and that way scattered his other leg, which feet with toes upbare. Grew on his middle parts the first day hair, to show that in love's business he should still a dealer be, and be used well or ill. His apples kindle, his leaves force of conception kill. A mouth but dumb he hath, blind eyes, deaf ears, and to his shoulders dangle subtle hairs. A young Colossus there he stands upright, and as that ground by him were conquered, a leafy garland wears he on his head, enchased with little fruits, so bred and bright that for them you would call your love's lips white. So of a lone unhaunted place possessed, did this soul's second inn, built by the guest, this living buried man, this quiet mandrake, rest. No lustful woman came this plant to grieve, but 'twas because there was none yet but Eve, and she with other purpose killed it quite. Her sin had now brought in infirmities, and so her cradled child the moist red eyes had never shut, nor slept since it saw light. Poppy she knew the mandrakes might, and tore up both, and so cooled her child's blood. Unvirtuous weeds might long unvexed have stood, but he's short-lived that with his death can do most good. To an unfettered soul's quick nimble haste are falling stars and heart's thoughts but slow paced. Thinner than burnt air flies this soul, and she whom 4 new coming and 4 parting suns had found and left the mandrake's tenant, runs thoughtless of change, when her firm destiny confined and enjailed her, that seemed so free, into a small blue shell, the which a poor warm bird o'erspread, and sat still evermore, till her enclosed child kicked and picked itself a door. Out crept a sparrow, this soul's moving in, on whose raw arms stiff feathers now begin, as children's teeth through gums, to break with pain. His flesh is jelly yet, and his bones threads. All a new downy mantle overspreads. A mouth he opes, which would as much contain as his late house, and the first hour speaks plain, and chirps aloud for meat. Meat fit for men his father steals for him, and so feeds then one that within a month will beat him from his hen. In this world's youth wise nature did make haste, things ripened sooner, and did longer last. Already this hot cock in bush and tree, in field and tent, o'erflutters his next hen. He asks her not who did so taste, nor when, nor if his sister or his niece she be. Nor doth she pule for his inconstancy, if in her sight he change, nor doth refuse the next that calls. Both liberty do use. Where stories of both kinds may freely choose. Men, till they took laws which made freedom less, their daughters and their sisters did ingress. Till now, unlawful, therefore ill, 'twas not. So jolly that it can move, the soul is, the body so free of his kindnesses, that self-preserving it hath now forgot, and slackneth so the soul's and body's knot, which temperance straightens. Freely on his she-friends he blood and spirit, pith and marrow spends. Ill steward of himself in 3 years ends. Else might he long have lived. Man did not know of gummy blood, which doth in holly grow, how to make birdlime, nor how to deceive with feigned calls, hid nets, or enwrapping snare, the free inhabitants of the pliant air. Man to beget and woman to conceive asked not of roots, nor of cock sparrows leave. Yet chooseth he, though none of these he fears, pleasantly 3, then straitened 20 years to live, and to increase his race, himself outwears. This coal with overblowing quenched and dead, the soul from her too active organs fled to a brook. A female fish's sandy roe with the male's jelly newly leavened was, for they had intertouched as they did pass, and one of those small bodies fitted so, this soul informed, and abled it to row itself with finny oars, which she did fit. Her scales seemed yet of parchment, and as yet perchance a fish, but by no name you could call it. When goodly, like a ship in her full trim, a swan, so white that you may unto him compare all whiteness, but himself to none, glided along, and as he glided, watched, and with his arched neck this poor fish catched. It moved with state, as if to look upon low things it scorned, and yet, before that one could think he sought it, he had swallowed clear this and much such, and unblamed devoured there all, but who too swift, too great, or well armed were. Now swum a prison in a prison put, and now this soul in double walls was shut, till melted with the swan's digestive fire, she left her house the fish, and vapoured forth. Fate, not affording bodies of more worth for her as yet, bids her again retire to another fish, to any new desire made a new prey. For he that can to none resistance make, nor complaint, sure is gone. Weakness invites, but silence feasts oppression. Pace with her native stream this fish doth keep, and journeys with her towards the glassy deep, but oft retarded. Once with a hidden net, though with great windows, for when need first taught these tricks to catch food, then they were not wrought as now with curious greediness to let none scape, but few and fit for use to get. As in this trap a ravenous pike was ta'en, who, though himself distressed, would fain have slain this wretch. So hardly are ill habits left again. Here by her smallness she to death sore passed, once innocent scaped, and left the oppressor fast. The net through swum she keeps the liquid path, and whether she leap up sometimes to breath, and suck in air, or find it underneath, or working parts like mills or limbex hath, to make the water thin and air-like, faith cares not, but safe the place she's come unto, where fresh with salt waves meet, and what to do she knows not, but between both makes a board or two. So far from hiding her guests' water is, that she shows them in bigger quantities than they are. Thus, doubtful of her way, for game and not for hunger, a sea-pie spied through this traitorous spectacle from high the silly fish, where it disputing lay, and tend her doubts, and her bears her away. Exalted she is, but to the exalters good, as are by great ones men which lowly stood. It's raised to be the raiser's instrument and food. Is any kind subject to rape like fish? Ill unto man they neither do nor wish. Fishers they kill not, nor with noise awake. They do not hunt, nor strive to make a prey of beasts, nor their young sons to bear away. Fowls they pursue not, nor do undertake to spoil the nests industrious birds do make. Yet them all these unkind kinds feed upon. To kill them is an occupation, and laws make fasts and lents for their destruction. A sudden stiff land wind in that self hour to seaward forced this bird that did devour the fish. He cares not, for with ease he flies, fat Latany's best orator. At last, so long he hath flown, and hath flown so fast, that many leagues at sea, now tired he lies, and with his prey, that till then languished, dies. The souls, no longer foes, two ways did err. The fish I follow, and keep no calendar of the other. He lives yet in some great officer. Into an embryon fish our soul is thrown, and in due time thrown out again, and grown to such vastness as, if unmanacled from Greece Maria were, and that by some earthquake unrooted, loose Moria swum, or seized from Afric's body had severed and torn the hopeful promontory's head, this fish would seem these, and when all hopes fail, a great ship overset, or without fail hulling, might, when this was a whelp, be like this whale. At every stroke his brazen fins do take, more circles in the broken sea they make than cannons' voices when the air they tear. His ribs are pillars, and his high arched roof of bark that blunts best steel is thunderproof. Swim in him swallowed dolphins without fear, and feel no sighs, as if his vast womb were some inland sea, and ever as he went he spouted rivers up, as if he meant to join our seas with seas above the firmament. He hunts not fish, but as an officer stays in his court, at his own net, and there all suitors of all sorts themselves enthrall. So on his back lies this whale wantoning, and in his gulf-like throat sucks everything that passeth near. Fish chaseth fish, and all, flyer and follower, in this whirlpool fall. Oh, might not states of more equality consist? And is it of necessity that 1,000 guiltless smalls, to make one great, must die? Now drinks he up seas, and he eats up flocks, he justles islands, and he shakes firm rocks. Now in a roomful house this soul doth float, and like a prince she sends her faculties to all her limbs, distant as provinces. The sun hath 20 times both crab and goat parched, since first launched forth this living boat. 'Tis greatest now, and to destruction nearest. There's no pause at perfection. Greatness a period hath, but hath no station. 2 little fishes whom he never harmed, nor fed on their kind, 2 not throughly armed with hope that they could kill him, nor could do good to themselves by his death. They did not eat his flesh, nor suck those oils which thence outstreet, conspired against him, and it might undo the plot or all, that the plotters were 2, but that they fishes were, and could not speak. How shall a tyrant wife strong projects break, if wretches can on them the common anger wreak? The flail-finned thresher and steel-beaked swordfish only attempt to do what all do wish. The thresher backs him, and to beat begins. The sluggard whale yields to oppression, and hide himself from shame and danger, down begins to sink. The swordfish upward spins, and gores him with his beak. His staff-like fins so well the one, his sword the other plies, that now a scoff and prey this tyrant dies, and his own dole feeds with himself all companies. Who will revenge his death, or who will call those to account that thought and wrought his fall? The heirs of slain kings, we see, are often so transported with the joy of what they get, that they revenge and obsequies forget, nor will against such men the people go, because he is now dead, to whom they should show love in that act. Some kings by vice, being grown so needy of subjects' love, that of their own they think they lose, if love be to the dead prince shown. This soul, now free from prison and passion, hath yet a little indignation, that so small hammers should so soon down beat so great a castle. And having for her house got the strait cloister of a wretched mouse, as basest men that have not what to eat, nor enjoy aught, do far more hate the great than they who good reposed estates possess, this soul, late taught that great things might by less be slain, to gallant mischief doth herself address. Nature's great masterpiece, an elephant, the only harmless great thing, the giant of beasts, who thought no more had gone to make one wise, but to be just and thankful, loath to offend, yet nature hath given him no knees to bend. Himself he upprops, on himself relies, and foe to none, suspects no enemies, still sleeping stood, vexed not his fantasy, black dreams, like an unbent bow carelessly his sinewy proboscis did remissly lie, in which, as in a gallery, this mouse walked, and surveyed the rooms of this vast house, and to the brain the soul's bedchamber went, and gnawed the life cords there, like a whole town clean undermined, the slain beast tumbled down. With him the murderer dies, whom envy sent to kill, not scape. For only he that meant to die did ever kill a man of better room, and thus he made his foe his prey and tomb. Who cares not to turn back, may any whither come. Next housed this soul a wolf's yet unborn whelp, till the best midwife, nature, gave it help to issue. It could kill as soon as go. Abel, as white and mild as his sheep were, who in that trade of church and kingdoms there was the first type, was still infested so with this wolf that it bred his loss and woe, and yet his bitch, his sentinel, attends the flock so near, so well warns and defends, that the wolf, hopeless else, to corrupt her intends. He took a course which since successfully great men have often taken, to espy the counsels or to break the plots of foes. To Abel's tent he stealeth in the dark, on whose skirts the bitch slept. Ere she could bark, attached her with straight gripes, yet he called those embracements of love. To love's work he goes, where deeds move more than words. Nor doth she show, nor make resist, nor needs he straighten so his prey, for were she loose, she would nor bark nor go. He hath engaged her, his she wholly bides, who not her own, none other secrets hides. If to the flock he come, and Abel there, she feigns hoarse barkings, but she biteth not. Her faith is quite, but not her love forgot. At last a trap, of which some everywhere Abel had placed, ends all his loss and fear by the wolf's death. And now just time it was that a quick soul should give life to that mass of blood in Abel's bitch, and thither this did pass. Some have their wives, their sisters some begot, but in the lives of emperors you shall not read of a lust the which may equal this. This wolf begot himself, and finished what he began live when he was dead. Son to himself, and father too, he is a riddling lust, for which schoolmen would miss a proper name. The whelp of both these lay in Abel's tent, and with soft Moabah his sister, being young, it used to sport and play. He soon for her too harsh and churlish grew, and Abel, the dam dead, would use this new for the field. Being of two kinds thus made, he, as his dam, from sheep drove wolves away, and as his sire, he made them his own prey. 5 years he lived, and cousin with his trade, then hopeless that his faults were hid, betrayed himself by flight, and by all followed, from dogs a wolf, from wolves a dog he fled, and like a spy to both sides false, he perished. It quickened next a toyful ape, and so gamesome it was, that it might freely go from tent to tent, and with the children play. His organs now so like theirs he doth find, that why he cannot laugh and speak his mind, he wonders. Much withal, most he thus stay with Adam's 5th daughter, Siphothesiae, doth gaze on her, and, where she passeth, pass, gathers her fruits, and tumbles on the grass, and wisest of that kind the first true lover was. He was the first that more desired to have one than another, first that e'er did crave love by mute signs, and had no power to speak, first that could make love faces, or could do the vaulters somersaults, or used to woo with pointing gambols, his own bones to break to make his mistress merry, or to wreak her anger on himself. Sins against kind they easily do, that can let feed their mind with outward beauty. Beauty they in boys and beasts do find. By this misled, too low things men have proved, and too high. Beasts and angels have been loved. This ape, though else through vain, in this was wise. He reached at things too high, but open way there was, and he knew not she would say nay. His toys prevail not, likelier means he tries. He gazeth on her face with tear-shot eyes, and uplifts subtly with his russet paw her kidskin apron, without fear or awe of nature. Nature hath no jail, though she hath law. First she was silly, and knew not what he meant. That virtue, by his touches chafed and spent, succeeds an itchy warmth that melts her quite. She knew not first, now cares not what he doth, and willing half and more than half loath, she neither pulls nor pushes, but outright now cries and now repents. When Tethlemite her brother entered, and a great stone threw after the ape, who, thus prevented, flew. This house thus battered down, the soul possessed anew. And whether by this change she lose or win, she comes out next where the ape would have gone in. Adam and Eve had mingled bloods, and now, like Chimic's equal fires, her temperate womb had stewed and formed it, and part did become a spongy liver, that did richly allow, like a free conduit on a high hill's brow, life-keeping moisture unto every part. Part hardened itself to a thicker heart, whose busy furnaces life's spirits do impart. Another part became the well of sense, the tender well-armed feeling brain, from whence those sinewy strings which do our bodies tie are ravelled out, and fast there by one end did this soul limbs, these limbs a soul attend. And now they joined, keeping some quality of every past shape. She knew treachery, rapine, deceit, and lust, and ills enow to be a woman. Themec she is now, sister and wife to Cain, Cain that first did plough. Whoe'er thou be'st that read'st this sullen writ, which just so much courts thee as thou dost it, let me arrest thy thoughts. Wonder with me why ploughing, building, ruling, and the rest, or most of those arts whence our lives are blessed, by cursed Cain's race invented be, and blessed Seth vexed us with astronomy. There's nothing simply good nor ill alone. Of every quality, comparison the only measure is, and judge opinion. The end of the progress of the soul. The end of Metempsychosis. End of John Donne's Satires. Recording by Thomas Copeland.